Conrad.
Yo,
How are you, my man?
I'm well. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing well. It's good to see you in here.
Good to see you too.
You were one of the first episodes we did.
Yeah.
About a year ago.
Yeah. It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Lots changed.
Yeah, man. You're on a pretty incredible journey right now.
Yeah.
You've been preparing for a 100-mile run.
210 miles.
210 miles.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man. Starting where and ending where?
Los Angeles and Vegas. The course is just a little bit, we're just honing it out with CHP. We're pretty much done. We have a couple routes. We're working with them to make sure we got the safest routes until we hit I-15. CHP's been awesome, by the way, out of Barstow in that area, and they've been really cool and helpful. So it's going to be from LA to Vegas, about 210 miles on the route that we think we'll have final approval on. And yeah, we're going to run. I'm running to raise awareness. My goal is to do it in 3 days, and then I'd like to stop outside of Vegas, come in on that Thursday of that week. We're going to take off January 13th. But to run in honor of the 3 sailors that committed suicide on the USS Washington in 2019 in less than 7 days. I'm running in their honor to raise awareness of the suicide solution that we have at the Shot at Dawn Project that could have had a likelihood of maybe preventing those deaths. And so that's really what the run's about. I think that's, you know, when I got into this, me and you had talked, I feel like we've been stuck in the mud in a sense when it comes to suicide. And I believe that this is a game changer, and I want to get it out there and get it known to the public and what we're doing and how we're helping the first responder community as well. And so the run's about, you know, really putting some eyeballs not only on the awareness situation that, hey, veterans suicide, but this is an active duty problem that's serious. In 2018, it was active duty's worst year. Special force rates tripled. I've said that a lot lately, but I think it needs to be said. So it's an active duty problem too. And that's what this run's about, putting awareness on both, that we believe we have a simple suicide solution and an administration form that fits under U.S. Commander's current authority. So let's try it out. And I've had a government agency already adopt the form, so I'm confident with this run we'll get more. And that's what we're attacking. We want to take an offensive approach to suicide, and that's what this project's all about.
And you're the right person to be doing this kind of stuff. And I've said that to you before, but I mean, you have the background, you have the experience, you have the deep-rooted connection to that world.
Thank you.
And yeah, man, and you're representing it very well. You are so freaking resilient, dude. To see what you've been doing for the past year, man, it's like you haven't stopped beating the drum, man. You are just moving and moving and moving and coming up with more ways to bring awareness and continually growing with the process. And you're going to be on the news after this. Like, dude, you're just hitting up everything you can. It's pretty incredible.
I've taken some shots and I've taken some blows, but that's part of, this is a me journey too, I like to say. Like I often wonder 4 years ago when, you know, I went through my struggles and I started to really think of a facility and the concept, but like, why was this given to me, you know? And so I'm thankful now because I really believe it's my destiny to be that guy from through my struggles and through my life to say, hey, not only have I designed something in a facility that I think that we could make work in the country, in a nonprofit and in many avenues, but we have an immediate solution, and why not try something, a frontier that we're not exploring? And I think often when we talk on suicide and mental health, we get caught in these numbers and these statistics that just keep hitting us on the news. And there's a sense when you talk to people of almost, I wouldn't say hopelessness, but a sense of like, what do we do? And I think the implications of our suicide screening form and what it can bring really reflects a mirror of my failures. And that's kind of what this run is about too. For me to lead this project, I really need to put in everything and sacrifice myself as the leader to say, hey, because, you know, I don't come with any great credentials. If you call the media and you were a National Guards or a Coast Guardsman, you know, veteran, you're not going to get maybe the same eyeballs on you as if you were, let's say, a Navy SEAL. That's just the nature of the beast, and I understand that. And there's no hard feelings about that, but that's just the way it is. So I've got, like, for example, guys that are way more badass helping me out, right? And so how do I earn that respect that I need from anyone and everyone? And I think I really need to get back to my roots and who I am. And for so many years, I think even lately in this project, I let exterior noise dictate how I acted or what I did. And I don't think I was really being myself. And I decided to really put some pressure on myself and find out. And I've gone through a best warrior competition that was 3 days. It was super tough. And I've been to the depths in myself and a little bit of suffering and pain and different stuff before. And I know what can be reached through there. And that's what this run's about. It's about me going out there. I shouldn't be able to do it. It's 210 miles. You're not supposed to do that unless you've done a 100-mile race. You know, I have an advantage. This isn't necessarily a timed race. My goal is to finish it, whether I've got to crawl to finish it, because it's significant, like our fight and suicide. You just don't give up. My goal is to do it how I want to do it because I'm competitive. But just all of that coming down to finding my core and what am I going to discover in myself out there, because I've discovered a ton of myself just in training for this and wanting to put myself out there and forcing to put myself out there, forcing myself to be uncomfortable and talk and really own my problems too. So I think ownership of the project is really coming to fruition for myself and me finding out who I really am and who I can be to lead this thing. And, you know, I want to be underestimated. I do. I've always wanted to be the underdog. And that's why I can continue to just keep digging. And you know, I actually, since I've really turned off that external noise and listened to the internal, it's helped me focus to know what I'm capable of, the champion in me, what I've done against guys that had more credentials than me in the military and competition. And that gives me so when I listen to myself, even though I've had failures from, you know, you name it, I've been in jail, I've had the crap marriage, divorce scenario, I failed financially, I've done all this. And I think a lot of times internally you can be telling yourself that. And when you're going to put yourself out there towards anything, naturally, nature of the beast, you're going to get external too. So you have to change your internal to who you really are. And when you shut that external off, for me, my internal changed right away, especially deep in training. When I've done, you know, and when I'm told, you don't do 100 miles until week 6 of training, and I knock it out in week 3, and I knock 50 of it out in less than 22 hours. That's where I get my new internal. And I shut that external off, and that's helped me to be not fearless, but more owning of coming out with this and myself and taking a challenge on that I shouldn't be able to finish.
But you will.
I'm going to 100%.
And you know you will.
100%, yeah.
And I feel that you know you will.
Yeah.
And that's freaking dope.
There's a lot, you know this, you've just watched me for a year. You know, I've been working on this for you. I've got a lot of heart in this. I've got a lot of people that I think that I owe because that they've listened to my conversations. They've brought me on their podcasts. A lot of people that I want to inspire by and pay them back that way, that they can do, you know, because on paper, like if you look at me on paper, whether it's my record or me developing this mental health project, I'm not a doctor. I've got a lot of hurdles that would put normal people, when you put that in front of them, they'd say, you'd never go after that. Or a mentor would say, this isn't for you. But I've always played in the back of my head, and I listen to a lot of men greater than me, the Schwarzeneggers and stuff like that. It seems that these men, these great men, all had something like that they were told, you'll never do this because of this. And yet they do it. Because it's their dream and it's their passion and it's their destiny, and they put in that work. And so for me, it's it's been good because it's really been a journey of self-discovery through failure.
Hmm. Yeah, and if we can be mindful through that process, like you are being, we can really grow with the process. Like you saying it's a me journey too, man. You're a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like we can look through that and past that and overlook that very often and just do it for other people, but to understand that we are also a component in what's happening, and if we grow, this thing grows also. And vice versa, if this thing grows, and we should grow in return to help this thing live and prosper.
Yeah.
It's to bring this back just a little bit, something really powerful happens when we start building internal respect rather than trying to gain it from outside sources.
Right.
And if we can respect who we are and what we're doing and the path that we know deep in our freaking being, like that holds way more ground than someone saying good job that you look up to. Of course, every component it feels good and it's important and it's helpful, but the deeper knowing, man, that's where the real fuel can really come from.
Yeah, and I think for me, a lot of my fuel now comes from those failures.
Hmm.
And I think they asked me at CBS the other day about, like, do you think, do you regret your past, or how you came to your problem, your point of, or do you understand it? And it's like, maybe I don't understand it. Sure, I have regrets, but one thing's for sure. If I wouldn't have went through those problems, I wouldn't have discovered this and not only this project, but the process I'm going through now, which I think I need to do to be a better man, right? And so I'm very thankful for that arrest. I'm very thankful for those failures because it really put me down to bare bottom, even the project, the failures in the project. So it's forced me to strip off all external layers that are always present and hovering over you, telling you what you are in concept, but you really aren't, right? That cloud of, am I really a fraud? Are they going to find me out? Am I this? Am I that? Like, just that social anxiety. And once you can alleviate that and focus on who you're looking at in the mirror, and that's who I want to work on for this too, is, am I doing the right thing in this project to be the president of the founder of this project? President's Dr. Lindley, but to truly lead this, and I need to discover some more about myself, and so that's what this is really about. Who's the man in the mirror? Am I a champion or not? Will I put myself out there in the arena when I have an answer, or I will crawl in the dark? Like, who's going to show up? I know who's going to show up, because I've turned that other one off. But that's what this is about, putting some pressure on myself to go out and give everything I got, knowing that it's going to be painful. There's going to be shin splints, some broken bones, some swelling, and some
Shin splints are no joke.
Yeah, but through that, can we signify maybe what our fight with suicide is? That whether we jump through and it takes us, just like with this project, if we implement this form and we cut the rates in half in active duty and first responder units, just like that, or is it a 10-year process and we knock it down 25%? Either way, can we finish something? Can we go after something and finish it? And so that's what this run's about. And I'm shooting towards making a statement. I think trying to set a record would be stupid. I don't want to injure myself and not be able to complete it. But you're going to have a hard time pulling me off that road, even if I got to crawl, because that's what this means to me. It's everything to me. Put my life's passion into it, and I know it could work, and it could have saved, a buddy of mine's life. I really believe that. A couple. And so stoked to bring this to the table and do something, significant, pay something back. I lost the right to wear my flag because of my problems with my drinking. And that's been a big one of those dark clouds, those internal clouds. Like, And other people know that, and they have opinions on it, and that hovers over you. And I want that pride back and that honor back, just like everyone else, because I was proud to wear that thing, and I didn't want to give it away. And I want it back. And I can't get it back maybe the way I could, then, but this is my way of giving back. And I put a lot into it, and I know it can save my brothers and sisters. So the project, I am the project in a sense. I really am. It's a development of myself.
Holy shit. That's an extremely powerful statement. It feels like a lot of people who produce a machine that does good in the world, that machine comes from the stuff that they've been through, because they understand what it's like to be in a certain position, to lose people that you actually and genuinely care for, and to be in that world and to use that energy and those emotions and alchemize them into building a better world for people. That's so many people. And it's really beautiful to find our deeper knowing, our gift, our calling from those emotions. Those are the things in us that move us around. That's something deeper presenting itself to who we are. And when we can align with that, man, whether it's a podcast or going the extra mile, like you are legitimately the extra mile, it's something very beautiful and profoundly inspiring. And even if people do or don't agree with the reasons why you're doing it, the underlying message of what's happening, it's subconscious in people, man. That plants a seed to let people subconsciously know that they can also follow their path.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that I dislike some of the stigma with suicide or what's said, because I think it's important that we know that there is around 20 veterans taking their lives a day, 14 civilians. More first responders died by suicide last year than they did in the line of duty. That's important. But I like to look at it too. I often say, well, how many are winning a day? Because if 22 are dying, how many are beating this back? And so I've got some stuff coming with the project on, we're gonna put that out. We're gonna put that out there. I want to know. Tag Project Shotathon to put out your video. Did you beat? Because I've talked to a lot of guys that beat this back. Guys coming forward, sharing stuff with social media. Now, if we put our attention on that, right, we're focusing on something positive, just like this project. We're focusing on something. How did you beat this back? That's where we got the answers to this project. They didn't just fly off the wall. I don't know where Congress, and I don't know where the politicians, and I don't know where the VA and these guys have been looking, but I'll tell you where I looked. I looked in the platoons, the organisms of these units, including myself, and really dug in on, hey, man, what was going on at the time we had that phone conversation, and I thought you were going to end it. I'm sure if there's veterans listening to this, we've all got a handful of buddies. One of them, for sure, we're worried about. And I've had that definitely. And so that's significant in this fight. That really is. And that's where I really got the concept for putting these triggers down. And it's like this, right? You can't win a war without resources. You also can't beat your enemy if they're killing you, if you don't know what resources they're killing you with. Right? And so what we often say, this is a fight, we're in a war with suicide, yet we don't have anything for our commanders to look at. All right, here's my guys taking their lives. What resources are the enemy using? We know they're using substance abuse, so we're going to attack substance abuse. We're going to send one attack on it, right? This form puts that out. Now you've got all the resources that our service members are taking their life, whether it's TBI, loss of relationship, loss of tribe, diet and exercise, these different components. Now we can apply resources to each one. And now you can start winning the battle. It's pretty simple, really. When you break it down like that, it's, hey, these guys are already going through a legal issue. They flagged themselves administratively. They're either going to go through non-judicial punishment. They're getting a counseling statement from their line leader. Oh, look, it's related to one of the 8 layers that contribute to suicide. which is plaguing us. Plaguing us. Now this form flies with that and simply gives a commander and a suicide officer the power to get that service members. Okay, what contributed to that divorce or that alcohol incident or that drug failure? What other layers are present here? If we can catch this now, what are we going to prevent in the future? And what frontiers can we open up from here? And I've got a lot of great ideas on that. A lot of great ideas from the board level, the discharge board level, through the whole scale of non-judicial punishment. But that's the idea behind this. These guys are already flagging themselves. We already have the authority. We're putting them through a judicial process, administrative process. They're government employees. This form simply helps us identify what they may need help with. It's as easy as that.
It's super helpful. I presume that the years of research that have happened over I don't even know how long this has been going on. I'm sure a freaking while. But these incidences and these examples that have helped you build this form.
I've seen them. I've lived through them. I've seen them in service.
That's powerful.
I've got a buddy, I believe this form, he was going through a medical discharge. He had an accidental overdose. This form is exactly designed to interrupt that because it slows them down, slows the process down a little bit. And we got to look at the whole thing objectively. There's a big problem with, like, for example, the Army and the Navy are massive. We're talking massive. A captain can overlook 180 men, right, in a unit. That's a lot of dudes to keep track of. It's like this. All this form does is take that process and go, whoop, let's take a second look at our soldier a little closer at the command level. I think that they'd want it. 100% I would. It helps protect them. It helps protect the service member. It needs to happen. And what's significant about it, too, is they say, what's the tie-in with Shot-It-Don? Well, Shot-It-Don is the 309 British soldiers that were executed by their commanders. The significance is that's how much authority a commander has, whether it's the British Army or U.S. Army. They had to apologize to those families 100 years later. And it's because they didn't know about shell shock and extreme battle fatigue and those mental health conditions that were happening because of those huge concussions during World War I, right? So they went through a legal process before they were shot. This form would have existed even though they had no knowledge of mental health. If this form would have existed in that time frame in World War I think those British commanders would have figured it out, that these dudes were sick. But they were going through an administrative legal process, following the line. So they were executed. So it's significant in that sense. The form could do a lot to just say, hey, wait a minute. What's going on with this person that's a human there? Individually.
I didn't know that about those soldiers. That makes a lot more sense of why that's tied into.
Yeah, often people wonder, and it's complex. I don't expect them to get it, but I know that it's significant to me, and that's...
Yeah, it's always really cool to hear the deeper meaning of why somebody named something or why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
How did your Shot at Dawn project develop into you running from LA to Las Vegas? How did that become a project that you feel very much called to, the run itself?
Well, so here's the thing. I thought the form to me could be implemented in work. So I'm screaming at the top of a rooftop constantly, right? Like, hey, here's an absolutely free solution. Absolutely free. Who will listen? Who will listen? This can work. And I'm not gaining a lot of ground. And I'm watching, social media and the news, and there's some bad A veterans doing some great work out there. And one of them, I friend requested on Facebook, he had ruck marched like 800 miles, and I was chatting with him. He got a ton of media. And we had you sent me
that video.
Yeah, I had just had that story on Wave 10 in Norfolk that I had Monty on, our proposed VP, about the suicides on the Washington and our screening form. We had just had that story in Norfolk. This guy does a run. So I thought, I'm trying to find and discover myself in this process. I've had all these failures in the project. I thought, if I could raise awareness and honor those 3 guys, because I think the form could have interrupted them. So I just thought, what can I do that I should fail? Because I don't want to do something that's easy. Right? Because I thought I had a few different ideas, ruck marching, some other stuff, and I thought, well, I'm 37, I'm no spring chicken, I've never ran 200 miles, so.
Wow, what could I do that I should fail? Holy crap. What a leadership statement to say. And to
Thanks.
go on that journey. How has your training been? I know we briefly talked about it, but
It's been good. You know, logged over 500 miles and had a couple 100-mile weeks. And, you know, I've had plantar fasciitis come up in my feet, but I changed. My diet was a lot cleaner when I started, and I started 11 weeks ago. And high elite runners would take maybe 4 months to train for a race like this. But I think for someone like me, I heard from a guy 12 months, and actually that sounds right. I was probably like, he's probably right. And I took about 3 months, which again, this is something that I should fail on paper, and I want it that way. And so, like I said, I did my first 100-mile week 3. Was told to do it week 6, and I've been fighting a cold for a week and a half, and I was running indoors. That's real hard on treadmills. It's tough on my knees. So right now I'm going to recoup my knees, and then I'm going to do a couple big days and then recover. And those big days right now, I'm, you know, more concerned about putting in some good mileage, like, but also being cognizant, like, if I'm going to keep myself healthy. And so right now I've been trying to kill the cold, which I've got pretty much 100% gone. My lungs were clear yesterday, so I was able to run outside yesterday for the first time in a week and, you know, put up some mileage. So that was cool. So I'm stoked that my lungs are clear, and I'm super blessed that I got sick before Christmas instead of like January 10th. And I'm down there because I'm taking a medic with me, but he's not stopping me, right? He's not stopping me from start. So if I'm down there with the flu and I got to crawl or something, we got to do it. Like I have to do this.
it's amazing too what your body will do in those moments when it has to turn on, when it has to be ready. I was talking with Ricky Steele last night actually, and he was saying he was super sore before one of his fights, couldn't move his neck, and it gets go time and he's like able to move. It's crazy what the body can do when it's time.
Yeah, your mind, I think, is has a really significant impact on what we can go through as far as tolerance of pain. Because, like, especially with long distance running, I've had a couple people, do your legs get sore? Well, yeah. And then they're sore. You run on sore legs. There's no such thing. If you're putting in 100-mile weeks, anything like that, even 50-mile weeks, you know, you are running on super sore hip flexors, knees and joints and stuff like that. It's learning how to tolerate that and keep it manageable. And that's what, you know, on this run, I didn't just say, all right, I'm just going to go run to 210 miles. I'll take off. I've been planning strategically. I'm testing myself out here on the road on how to keep my, you know, distances and times kind of where I want them, and then have real recovery instead of, you know, in a little bit easier to do, but have real good recovery sessions, whether they're 20, 30 minutes, whatever we can do to where I keep a good set pace, but I'm not blowing myself out. And I believe I'll be able to hit those 70 miles a day and run through this pretty easily with, you know, with some, I'm expecting to hurt. Right.
Have you floated before?
I haven't.
Dude, you have to come in.
Yeah. I want to try like a legit, because I just use the tub at my house.
Yeah. No, bro, you have to come in.
I throw like 3 bags of ice in it.
Yeah, let me know. We'll hook it up before you go. It's the perfect recovery tool. It's the perfect tool to help you deeply embody your reason to do this, man.
Yeah.
Because when we remove external input into the body mind, then we're able to work with the subconscious things that are actually present in our own being. And we can sit in there and know what that feels like, man.
Right.
And truly listen to where we are in the deeper knowing in us. it would be a huge benefit, from my opinion, for you to do at least once before you go.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah,
It'd be excellent.
I was telling Chelsea, my girlfriend, definitely want to do like a good ice bath. And I'm thinking, depending on our RV, I'm going to do that. But if I can jump in an ice tub every 10 miles, I'm going to do it because you got to think long term.
That's hilarious.
Right? Like, yeah, let's finish.
Yeah, no joke.
The ice, I mean, bang up on recovery. I was running on those treadmills, and I just can't tell you, if you do over 5 miles on a treadmill, just cut your knees out. It just tears them up. But ice, there's nothing better than it, for sure.
Yeah,
I ice my knees, and that helps a ton. Even when I hop in my small ice bath for 30 seconds at a pop or whatever, that's super beneficial.
Have you heard much about floating? Are you referring to it as an ice bath, or
no? I'm
okay.
talking
You're
about
just tying that in.
Yeah,
Cool. Because some people just don't really know what it is. But yeah, both are incredible tools, man. Ice, for your scenario, I don't know if you have a trough or anything, but we can definitely hook that up too if you want to do some like deeper work before you head out.
Yeah,
that'd be rad.
Yeah, especially probably late next week. Get some good recovery and recovery days before. Yeah. Because I think with Represents team, we're going to do a little shooting in LA. I'm going to run around. I've got a buddy down there that's a Marine, do some spots, and then, our start point. But I want to be like, good and recovered.
Oh, for sure.
Like have all this junk gone. In fact, like I've sacrificed miles right now. I think it's more important to keep myself. I was tough not to go running outside, but the weather's just been too cold here. And I'm like, if I go out with my lungs full right now, I'm going to risk ammonia.
Yeah, no doubt. It happens like that, man, unfortunately. Way to be smart with that whole training program, man. I don't know if you have a team with you that's had a lot of experience to help you kind of strategize.
So I've had no nutritionist, no coach, none of that. But, I'm smart. And I think a lot of times we look at that hey, why haven't I got started? Well, your personal trainer. That sometimes you just got to get out there and go. And my first 100-mile week, I ran my legs with no water, no special. I just had cross training Nikes, and sometimes you just got to go out there and run or do whatever it is you're going to do, and you'll find yourself you'll be just fine.
Who are some of your sponsors for this, or who's really helping support this run?
So I've got a couple local. So Injury Care EMS is going to provide me a medic. There've been a ton of help and some medical supplies. I'm waiting. I think it's I got to wait on two because I haven't had them confirmed. But Represent out of California, a clothing line, Represent LTD. They're doing our run outfits for us and a Shot at Dawn Project shirt. So that's going to be on sale online at rephard.com.
That's awesome.
100% of the proceeds will go towards the run. So good on those guys. And
that's
then, like
incredible.
I said, I've been working with a manager at Represent, but they're allowing us access to the Represent media team in LA. So we're going to get a little, and that's during UFC 246. So maybe we'll get a little notoriety there on this veteran suicide problem.
Possible, man.
Yeah. And so we're stoked that those guys, and I've hit up a lot of people. Hey, this is what we're doing. Will you help us out? And Represent was awesome. They love veteran causes. They reached out to me. Hey, how can we help in this venture? And blah 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 blah. And so I think we've got them on board, and we've got some other sponsors that we're bringing in. But Injury Care and has definitely been a lot of help. Dottie Electric. And I'm not sure who else we got at this time. There's two I think we're gonna get, but I gotta make sure we got them before.
For sure.
But yeah, helping out with the run a little bit is we were gonna shoestring this thing, but getting this help, I had a guy that's helping me out, a local here that he's big into charity. He feeds the homeless a lot, and he's kind of really stepped in and helped me get some media and kind of stuff like that to help this thing kick off, which has been a ton of help, even with the run. And so we're really looking forward to it. And the goal is to keep running too, right? I mean, I did compete a little bit when I was younger, and I've had times that I think I could qualify for Boston. I think my fastest half marathon was like an hour 30 flat. So I want to run for the project, you know, and raise awareness too on what we're doing as far as this. So I think there's a lot of opportunities. So we're hoping to build relationships with, you know, military friendly companies that we know are in Idaho, like Chobani and Cliff Bar and bodybuilding.com. And there's a ton of supplement companies that,
Idaho's bigger than people think.
yeah.
It really is.
So we're looking forward to, like, you know, this run, and then, hey, we can keep doing this for the project. We can keep, and if I need to do that to keep the momentum going for my team, that's what I'll do.
If you could ask every single person listening to this episode right now for some form of help or support, what would that be?
It would be simple. If you go to shotitdawnproject.org, and we have a PayPal link there, donate 5, 10, 20 bucks, whatever. Nothing major, nothing big. We don't need a ton. This part isn't really about that. It's just about, hey, we need to go out and complete this and get some awareness that we've created a form that can not only work in first responder units. We've had 2 first responder units adopt it. I've pulled back for the run now that I have a little bit of proof on the form, and, you know, just helping us out, just a little bit of cash that way, I think will go a long ways. And, you know, just the really getting this, hey, we've got something here and we want to bring this to fruition. And that Max coming in and helping me and all this stuff. Another thing I want to tell your listeners, that maybe it's strange because there's been multiple times, like with all this, I've had chances or opportunities I should have quit, or like the failures that come up, or you get told no. And what's crazy is the more that I shut off the external and I focus on my passion. And I mean, I've turned on the window to sponsors now, but before, for the run, but before their project, when I started, I was really worried about, we got to get a big sponsor. I was focused on the money, on getting a big sponsor, so then we could bring the form and the project to fruition. And I kind of put all that exciting just on my passion. And every day, just take a step forward. These things keep coming to fruition. Like the run, how did it come to me? I don't know. All those things that kind of fell in front of me where the light bulb went off. These blessings keep happening with this project, especially lately. And I think it's just because we just keep our passion, our intents right, and we just keep moving forward. And that, I hope, would tell other people, like, it doesn't matter if you know, you get told 100 times no by media outlets, it only takes one to say yes. If you've got an idea that can work, that can help people, whatever your thing is, like, just keep grinding, keep one brick, keep stepping forward. And man, like I said, I've had some really good blessings kind of just come to fruition, fall into place, call them what you will. People step in the picture, companies you never would have thought helping, you know, just one after another as this thing just keeps going. And that's what I'm stoked about it. And that, you know, the men I listen to and look up to speak of this, right? The struggles they went through and how they made it, and brought something to the table that needed to be brought to the table, whether it's a talent or you know, something in health or whatever your struggle is, you know, that constant moving forward.
Yeah, there's something universally powerful about digging deeper into your actual purpose and doing something and your intention. Like you were saying, I talk about that on this podcast all the time, man. How if we can do that and really hone into the deep reasons why we're doing what we're doing and allowing the rest to blossom from that.
Right.
It's very beautiful, the people that come into your path and all of the components that just happen. Instead of being, in a sense, what I feel like, distracted on one of the components, like money or something. If we can learn to just kind of sideswipe those things away and go deeper into the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, and understanding that when you see the fruits from that labor, you will be so grateful you went the deeper route because the right people are there supporting it.
Right.
It's very different.
And you can find yourself, and I'm very guilty of this, even recently, right? If something doesn't go your way, a door shuts, this happens, we always tend to go, it's easy to think on the negative side. Well, this happened because of this. This happened because of this. And, I've really stopped that victimization of anything and been like, that just isn't good. That just wasn't right then. Let's find the next avenue. And taking just a different approach. Some people I'll rub the wrong way, and that's okay. And some businesses aren't going to like what we're doing, and that's cool. Like, I don't get offended by it anymore. Like, it's just like, that mentality of mine, it's really started to shift in. Let's not worry about,
That's that me journey too, man.
Yeah,
that's the you growing with this.
Let's focus on the prize, because when we focus on that, or this didn't go my way because of him or because of her, or they're doing this or they're doing that, or this person's saying this, I think anytime we do that in life, anytime, 100% you're taken away from. I could be diverting that attention towards my project,
completely,
towards a different avenue since that one's closed, or whatever
Absolutely.
And so that's helped me too. And I mean, I'm still guilty of it. I go through that daily, where you want to look and go, why is this not working? It must be because of that. Okay, I just focused my attention. Why isn't it working? It's just not working. That's the problem. So let's figure out a way to make it work instead of looking,
accurate. Yeah, and then when we start to notice those distractions and how they feel, like you can feel your attention slip, because you know what it feels like to be honed in on something. Like, oh, like what the, okay, like there's something there, let's bring that right back. Like that's the power of attention and being mindful of it.
Yeah, and cutting those type of people out of your life too.
It all matters.
Yeah.
The whole environment matters. And you really notice the when you start to cut the proper people out or the wrong people out, however you want to look at that. You do that one moment here, you do something else here, you do something else here. You notice 8 months down the road, all of those little adjustments change your entire environment and your entire ability to move onward.
Yeah.
It's the little things that make up the big picture, really.
Yeah. And victimization, I think, in any form can be a real hindrance to growth. Real hindrance.
Absolutely. And it's so subconscious for the most part. A lot of people don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like that to me is so intriguing.
Yeah, and I'll catch myself. Sometimes I'll get angry about something and I'm like, why am I even stressed over this? It's stupid. Like, take a deep breath and that's kind of being self-aware of oneself, I guess, is
for sure.
part of this journey.
Huh. It is really cool to hear. I'm glad you're sharing this and being open about kind of the things that you're learning while doing this, because it's always different from the inside.
Yeah.
It's always different. People can watch you do this and be like, oh, you're so brave, you're so courageous, like you just did it without any worry. But there's so much happening in the people that produce companies and people that are professional athletes or are doing what you're doing, that when we share these gems of perspective and these lessons and these things that we're turning into wisdom, it makes it way more realistic for people. It's like, fuck, like this dude also had a hard time and he did it anyways.
Yeah.
Like that's real, man.
Yeah.
Super real.
Yeah, a lot of obstacles. This run shouldn't be happening. This project shouldn't be happening. And that's kind of what I like.
Yeah, it's
That's
rad.
where I thrive.
Yeah, it's rad that you highlight that and you are sharing the internal process, because we all have one.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not there. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
We have those inner voices, and
they're present.
And to kill the inner voice that is harmful, the one that says, "Hey, man, you can't do this. You've bitten off more that you can chew." Have you ever really? Is that ever a good mindset to have?
Dang.
Have you ever really? Because have we ever really? And I don't know if I have, and that's part of what this. I don't know if I've been to a breaking point in my life physically. I may have thought I've been to one, but like, that's a good question. I think that we need to ask ourselves.
Yeah, that's resonating very deeply. I'm not sure either. Huh.
What is it to really suffer? We know that suffering can produce what? Some form of grace, right? So journeys, bro. Be about them. Right? How
That's
do you?
awesome. The perfect ending to that little moment. Yeah, be about them.
Yeah, and I kind of own my project and my, I've got my own motto now on my personal page, the Charlie Mike motto. Just know how that's a military saying. Charlie Mike just means continue mission. So no matter how bad it gets, you just Charlie Mike.
Whoa.
Obviously, I got a big saying on that, but so some different things like that I've applied in my own life. I've gotten crappy pants before over something and been like, and Charlie Mike, just drop, let's go. The mission doesn't stop. And what's your mission in life? You want a family, you want to live your dream. Is that your mission? Then you got to be walking towards that. So Charlie Mike,
Charlie Mike,
know what
I
your
like
mission
that.
is. Know what your mission is first, and then always continue towards it, no matter the obstacle, whether it's, divorce, substances, the little nuggets of fun life likes to throw at us at the most inconvenience of time. You take it on the chin and Charlie Mike, Because if you're not,
Wow.
we have issues.
Continue mission.
Yeah, and what's your mission,
That resonates, man. Yeah.
And mine is to get this project to fruition. It's my life's destiny, my goal.
Man, it's so cool to learn from people like you and be around people like you.
Thank you.
That's been one of the best things about doing this podcast is learning from your background. Like, I never knew Charlie Mike was a saying that meant continue mission.
Mm-hmm.
That resonates, man. There's so much wisdom in other people's backgrounds and perspective and how you internalize your information and the fact that you are now applying and embodying that phrase into your life. You doing that from your own completely different world of past history than mine. I'm able to learn with you now and learn from you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's really just, it's like I said, I had to kind of own this project and all of that. And it's not, I think I think CBS did a thing the other night, and it was my third time that, like, I had one in Twin, I've had two up here, but each time they get to talk about, and they love doing it. Every time I tell them my story, first thing they do is go right to my screw ups, right? Because they want people to understand or whatever. But that isn't an easy process for me to go through, dude. Not at all.
Just get called
To have
out
the
on
whole
that.
state hear about my drinking and driving and my failures, and that I wanted to end my life and I failed in this, and this. That is not an easy thing to go through. It's super uncomfortable. But all the men that I admire, that I listen to, that have been successful, find success in being uncomfortable. You'll never find anything in real comfort. And I'll tell you, that thing, I think it was Tuesday night, it aired. Didn't bug me at all. Didn't bug me at all. The growth, right? I'm getting over it. Who gives a shit? And that was the first time I swore this podcast, but excuse my French, but really, who cares?
Yeah.
And I'm to the point now, I don't care what people think. But man, I remember when ABC, I even called a journalist. I was upset. I was like, I didn't realize you guys were just gonna bus roll me the whole time. I was just being a little girl about it, really.
Well, I mean, still,
And they really told me what they were gonna do. I was just having a moment, but it's just a hard thing to do.
Dang.
People think, like, for me, even the first time I was on camera, it's like, you think you're ready to let people know what a head you are until people know what a, right? And then it's not fun. But it's, like I said, it's been good for me, I think. It's part of my growth, and it's helped me armor my internal belief in myself and turn off that external, because I keep putting myself in that position. And that's what I was telling my girlfriend the other day. I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, that CBS story doesn't bug me at all.
Dang, man. Way to freaking alchemize that and bring that into information that's just information now. You're not judging it. You're not attaching emotion to it. You're just perceiving what's happening and letting it flow through. There's so much strength in that. So much strength and durability in that.
Yeah.
That's like what feels like one of the best places people can reach, dude, during this life.
One of the best people I listen to that's helped me And maybe this is part of the reason I want to run. I don't know. Maybe I'm a fanboy. I don't know. But I've always been able to run. So I thought this is the best thing. But I listen to David Goggins a lot. And David Goggins, you know, he talks about really digging inside yourself, finding out who you are, being able to look in the mirror, that type of different stuff that we don't want to do. And what's funny is I listen to a lot of guys that when I go to the gym, if I'm going running, I'll listen to Eric Thomas. I'll listen to, you know, different preachers that I think that are motivational, all kinds of different motivational guys from Conor, who you name it. But what's unique is with him, who are we talking about?
Goggins.
Goggins. I dropped it right there. So because I was naming all those other names.
It happens.
Is I didn't want to listen to him. Because out of all of them,
uncomfortable, huh?
Oh, he made me super uncomfortable listening to him. Because he's like, "Who are you, mother?"
Yeah, he's very
he's in your face. Point. He's like, "You full of shit." I was full of it. And you know, you listen to him, you're like, "I am." I don't like hearing this. I'm not going to listen to him. So during my training, I've been putting on his like hour and a half videos and stuff, and I just let it play. And I'll listen to him. And then some days I'll run with no music, and that's when I do a lot of reflection.
Yeah, it's nice to run without any input and just allow it to flow. When we can turn on the body to be in a fluid state like that, the mind's in the body, man. The body's in the mind. And
the best way to do that is, my advice is, if you want some serenity in running, is go out to where there's no one and then don't do earbuds. Tough for me in the town, in the city, I'll do it because of traffic.
That makes sense.
But it still can be beneficial for me too.
It's rad, man. I know I'd like to touch base on this a little bit. You've put down like everything you're working on to do this. And that is super admirable and super honorable. And it shows how much investment you're putting into this project and into this training and into everything.
Yeah.
When you put down your podcast, you're really investing yourself in this.
Yeah, I'm gonna relaunch, and I've got a different idea on a more professionalized version that I want to do, and it's really just about continuing to drive forward with it, and another thing I needed to do is take these opportunities and not worry about my podcast per se as much, and go out there and get this run done, and then I can come back to that once we've established something and kind of work on that. And I have one set up for the foundation, or for the nonprofit I'm going to do too. But yeah, I think, you know, I knew what I was jumping into, obviously, when I took this at 90 days. So I did everything I could. You know, I'm like, what can I do for any advantage? And the first thing I did is like, I'm going to maintain my weight. I did a vegan diet, which really helped in the first 20 days. And then I started to get a little weak. So I've introduced, so I'm about 80-20 now. But I maintained my weight throughout the training at 170, between 170 and really 173, to give my hip flexors and joints and everything kind of the punishment at that weight. And then I'm down to 162 now. I want to start at about 155, my running weight. And then I figure by the end of day one, I'll be around that 150, and I'll try to maintain that. But that should alleviate a lot of stress on my joints and stuff like that. And so that's the unfun part, is the weight cutting right here towards the end. But I'm not taking it like in one shot, right? I've lost
destroy your energy.
Yeah, I've lost 8 pounds over the course of a week.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it real methodically. I've cut carbonation out the last 2 weeks. You know, I haven't consumed alcohol in over 4 years. I'm sure that's helpful.
Yeah, man.
So I think my diet
2 years this month.
Yeah, and I'm when I did that warrior competition, I mean, I'd smoke on the weekends at the time. I wasn't really training. We didn't understand the kick they were going to give us. I mean, I ran like maybe 5 miles a week. Like I wasn't, but yeah, I know what I can do. And I wasn't putting any, I was younger, sure. I was 31, 32, something like that, 5-6 years ago. But I've taken this way more serious. And, you know, I talked about it on Facebook, but like, I learned something in failing at that level at Best Wear after I won the state, and because I thought I'd won. I really did. So did my sponsor. So did our brigade sergeant major. Because I crushed everyone on all these timed events in between legs. Just they hold a candle to me. But I wasn't very good in some of the garrison competitions, like blindfolded, putting a weapon together and stuff like that. And when we lost, I was upset. They were upset. And I was really like, oh, the Oregon, these guys went through a dress rehearsal. They knew what the competition. I started that process. If it's not me, it's them. And I think the reality of it is I didn't fucking put the work in, dude. Because I could rely on, I knew what I could do physically. I was confident, like, oh, there's going to be this tab guy there, this guy. I don't care. I'll out ruck march him. I'll do this. I've never needed any special credentials to compete. And I relied on that. And that's why I failed. I didn't put in the work on the garrison side of the competition. But as I look back now, that was a valuable lesson to learn. So on this run, I took that into this. So I've been reading different tips from guys that have done 200 miles and doing different recovery techniques and looking into that, my nutrition, the training, you know, and if I can't train to how I want to train, I just adjust fire. Just like when you get a cold, okay, how am I going to do this to where I don't get too sick? I can't, you know? So finding all that and really putting in that work, I've really honed in on these last 90 days. So that's another reason 125% confident I'm going to complete this.
Yeah, way to use past experiences into this new venture. I think that's what life is. Whether or not we want to acknowledge that, everything shapes us into what we're able to do if we're able to apply everything that we've been through into what we're doing. There's a lot of people that disregard certain parts of their life, but you're truly bringing them with you, man. That's strength.
Yeah,
that's
and
strength.
Even when I made that post, my old sponsor that went to that best wear competition, which is just another Army guy that's like, he's there to, you know, hey, you need foot powder during the over that 4 days, you know, these kind of just your battle buddy helping you out. If you need something, I'm going to go fill your canteen for you, whatever. If you get injured, something like that. He even said, he's like, well, we both know that this, and I'm like, maybe, like, I'm just to the point where I want to own it. Or maybe if I would have not been so lazy and not use the excuse of whatever and really stuck my nose in the books, I could have just won it outright, even if they did have an advantage, because I could have made myself, I clearly, you know, separated myself physically. But so even I don't allow other people to give me that crutch anymore either. Like I don't want to do that anymore.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
incredible. That's my buddy Dan Size. He's an awesome dude. We call him like the Bear Grylls of Idaho. He's quite the survivalist. But yeah, I was like, maybe.
Crutches, man, they're weird. It's so easy to lean on them.
Yeah.
So easy to lean on them for comfort, to relax for a second, whatever.
Everything.
Whew, man, Conrad. Do you have, shoot, man. First of all, second of all, lastly, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Holy moly. This was very meaningful. This is a very good discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Do you have any remaining thoughts or things you wish to share right now?
No, I'll just give a shout out to my sponsors. I'd like to thank Represent LTD, main sponsor, Nate Diaz's company. They've been a ton of help from Veterans Day sale for the run, all the way to helping us produce our run gear and our fight shirts that are going to be sale on rephard.com. And if you don't know anything about them, it's Nate Diaz is an MMA fighter, but their clothing line that they have is pretty sick. And they've got a sports clothing line with windbreakers, a lot of stuff with military style to it. This is a Represent shirt, olive green shirts. You know, I grew up in Idaho. I like to duck hunt. They've got windbreakers, stuff like that you can throw on and you'd be legit right in your truck. You can go shoot some ducks. They've got some cool stuff like that and great clothes. So the shirts they have too are priced around $28. So they seem a little high, but man, I'll tell you, these things last like 4 years. I've literally got a kill or be killed Nate Diaz shirt from 4 years ago. It's still legit, still good. 2 of them actually. So they use good stuff. So big shout out to them. We're super stoked that they're doing our gear and helping us out. Like that's what this is about. A little bit of help there. Injury care, providing us, an ambulance a medic and medical supplies has been a tremendous help. Dottie Electric is hooking us up with a little bit of cash, and I think Mai Tai Restaurant too. I think I got that
That's
message
rad.
that we're good on that, and helping provide the food during the trip for the team too. I've got a ton of people I could thank, but I'd like to give a shout out to Chelsea, obviously my girlfriend. She puts up with me, and I often say this: who you surround yourself with. I was out on a 100-mile week at like 9:30 at night. It's cold, it's miserable. She had the kids all day. I knew that she was frustrated with me. I knew it. I could sense it. And I get a message from her like 10 miles in. I got to do 15 to whatever to finish or whatever. And I'm exhausted, and I'm got a little bit of poop in my pants, that type of attitude, right? And I'm running, and I get a message that says, "Hey, I love you and I support you. Finish strong." It's that type of stuff. If I didn't have that, just that type of stuff in life. And so I'm very thankful and blessed for that. Max Muhammad, Jody, all these blessings that have come in my life. Michelle Morales, Kurt Bogger, I've just tons of people helping me. Amanda Lanier from Stockton, she has kind of helped coordinate some stuff down there because I've put a lot of feelers out for shirt companies and stuff like that. To have those guys step up and it's just super, super thankful for. So I'm just thankful for all that. If I could say anything, and if anyone's interested, go to shotatdawnproject.org, find out what we're about. My link's there. If there's any companies listening to this, I think suicide's big in the corporate world too. A lot of these applications apply. I speak, so if you guys are looking into that, you can send an inquiry on my page and get in contact with my publicist, Lisa. So we're looking to do some speaking on these 8 layers that we developed and what we're going to do in suicide and how we're going to kick the ever living out of it. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to hear me rap on that, hit us up.
Oh gosh, man, that may have been the best closing I've ever heard.
Really?
That was very well done and super wholesome.
Yeah, well, and
That's awesome.
I can't say like just the people that I've rapped to so many. Thank you for this show. Everyone that's given me an opportunity to either talk and speak with them on this, I'm super thankful for, because it's very important to me. And Jody, my friend, sent a message out like it takes a tribe, takes a village. And I think with this suicide problem in this country, my motto, I've got a couple. One of them is I still believe in the American spirit, because I think that if we rekindle that, if we stop looking to the left and to the right, this is a nonpartisan killer. And so I think that's what's gonna solve this problem, is us coming together as Americans.
Much love, man.
All right.
Thank you so
bet.
much. Yeah. Until next time, and good luck.
Until next time, we'll do post.
Oh yeah, let's
okay.
do it.
All right, brother. Later.